like crazy people.
Yes, there's just
that is actually what we normally do around here.
It is.
Get a little crazy.
Yeah. I feel like
So
you're just on the verge there. I know.
Outside of
so many cameras today.
I know.
It's crazy.
My browser has lost connection to the mic.
That's okay.
As long as it's not echoing, I guess I don't care.
Oh, goodness. Okay. We are officially live. I see the little button.
I see that there's already 16 people watching us. So hello, Miss Shirley. And yes.
The banner's gone again.
So she typed this beautiful banner to go across the bottom of the screen
to tell people to go to our website.
To tell everybody about our wonderful new shopping site.
And it just will not stay.
And I think we left our stuff we were going to talk about, or did you hide it somewhere else? Oh, look, she's on top of it.
2 out of 3.
That's not so bad.
Wow. What happened today? It was a crazy day.
It really, really was. And I don't know where it went.
That's big.
Yeah.
I like this one.
That one's not too bad.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
We'll start with that one.
So let's start with that.
Yeah.
So it's March. Can you guys believe that it is already March?
Holy moly.
And it's March 2nd to boot. It's not even March 1st. It's, So we have a new fill in the blank, and the kits are ready.
Look at my dad.
No better way to spend a Tuesday than
he's single, guys. He's in Florida.
that's the part that kicks it for me. Just so you know. But so hi Dad. But yeah, so we have a really cute kit that has choices in it, which is even better because Sarah couldn't decide at the store. So y'all have choices too.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. But you do actually have choices in your kit. So we'll be doing, I thought I misread that. I don't know how many times, but we're going to make a busket because I've made one of those before. Haven't you made one of those before?
Totally. I mean,
I
made
just smacked my mic. So I apologize if that would.
Mine's over here still. I made one of those when I misplaced basket, when I misspelled basket, a busket.
So it's a cross between a bucket and a basket is my concept of what that actually means.
It's a Kimber Bell thing, right?
It's a Kimber Bell thing, and it's cute. So that's all that really matters. So we'll be doing that tomorrow. However, it won't be at 9 a.m. It will be in the afternoon because I have an appointment in the morning that I can't change. So we're going to push that to the afternoon so you guys can spend tomorrow afternoon with us too, if you would like. And if you want to just see what the project is all about, if you haven't purchased it yet, we do still have some unclaimed kits, blanks, whatever you want to call them.
Yes.
Both, as a matter of fact. So
what is it? A fit B.
It's a fit B. It's fill in the blank. FITB. I find that much easier to write. And she's like, what is a fit B?
Yeah.
I'm like, thanks.
Yeah.
And so, yes, that is going to be tomorrow. So you guys can see the cuteness that will be tomorrow afternoon.
Yep.
So that's coming up really fast. And then we have a little break. We'll still see you guys every Tuesday, of course. But I have the Kimber Bell. It's a very Kimber Bell month. Kimber Bell Garden Guild, which is one of their new one-day events that we'll be doing on Saturday the 20th. Again, still have a few of those kits left. They have shipped. So if you have signed up for that, hopefully you'll be hearing from us sometime soon that they are here. And so that'll be nice because I always feel like this. Okay, we've got the kits.
Yeah, right.
So it's always this panic of crud.
Yeah, I don't know if we have anybody that we're shipping to or not. I don't.
There's
remember.
a couple.
Yep.
Barb. I know. I remember reading Barb, and I feel like there's another one on there, but I know we have at least one. So we will get that sent out the moment it shows up here, and so that's coming up on the 20th, and then the week after that we have this one's going to do bridging plates, on Wednesday or Saturday. Wow.
Morning. Yes.
Yes, Wednesday or Saturday morning at 9:30, and then Wednesday or Saturday at close, I'll be doing Embroidery Club. So that's currently what we've got on tap. No,
I'm so
that
sorry.
is not allowed.
Wow.
I'm like, don't do it, don't do it.
I couldn't help it.
It didn't work.
Right?
I had to do it.
We do have a lot more light here today. Did you notice?
Yes, this is insane. I'm like,
it's like fried
it's actually got like a different
we
patina.
look different.
We don't look quite as
red.
I was gonna say ill. We look a little healthier, a little better lighting.
Yeah. We changed the light bulbs today.
Yes.
And we changed all of the light bulbs in that.
Yeah.
They're all different colors now. If you didn't know this.
Except this room is not.
Now they're all the same.
This room is good. So
it's really good. Yes.
We're nice and bright.
And bright.
And bright.
Yes.
Yay.
So we want to talk about
we need Mountain Dew, right? That would not be a bad thing.
So we're constantly trying to figure out things to talk about on Tuesday that are applicable to as wide variety of people.
Yes.
Obviously we know that they won't touch everybody all of the time. Unless you all want to trade in your machines and buy a Solaris and Luminaire, and then we could just talk about that all the time.
Totally can help you with that.
We know that's probably not going to happen for everyone. So we do try to talk about, probably not, maybe. I mean, in a perfect world, right?
It's not. But, we understand you guys all have
everybody has
your favorite baby at home too.
Right,
so
right.
Absolutely.
And it's the right price point for everybody. It's not the right price point for everybody. Right?
Or everybody's price point that's perfect for them is different.
Yeah. So we get that, and so we're trying to touch on a variety of things, and we try to make it work for as many people as possible.
So you guys probably know most of the time that we're videoing, unless we have I don't know where my phone is, but I hear something.
Yes, they're all over there. I didn't have mine today. Isn't that funny? First time, but it's ringing because we're on live.
Still hear it because we're live. So why wouldn't there be a phone ringing in the background? I don't know what I was saying.
That's okay. We were talking about trying to make it fit for as many people as we can.
So, I know. I was just going to say, we're sitting in front of a Solaris, but that doesn't mean that you can only do the things that we're talking about that are on the Solaris or the Luminaire.
Yeah.
So, just because we're sitting in front of one of the top of the line machines, a lot of the reason for that is that, yes, it has all of the different options that are out there, but the screen's bigger. So it's a lot easier for you guys to see what it is that we're talking about and what buttons we're pushing.
Everything is bigger.
Everything is bigger. So, that is actually the main reasoning behind it, is just so that you guys can see. And Louisa, we'll cover it again at the end. So we'll go through everything that's coming up again at the end. But in the meantime, you can see the little scroll doohickey. That's a word, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Totally.
So we will touch back on that in a few.
Fidgety today.
Did someone tell you to hold still? Right. We were having a fun conversation at lunch today about all of the weird medical things that, your MRIs and your CAT scans. And, she was saying that I'm great until they tell me to hold still, because then, of course,
I can't.
You can't. Stop that.
Oh, my God. I'm so sorry. I did not finish my coffee today.
So today we are. Oh, crap. Apologies.
We're not.
Today we are going to talk about
quilting in your hoop.
Quilting in your hoop, but also continuous quilting. So what that means, how do you tell whether it is something that's going to connect to the previous piece that you stitched, or whether you can continuously rehoop that same design and have them connect to one another?
What does that mean?
What does that mean? How do you find a design that will do that without having to call us and say, okay, does this one work? Which, of course, we're here for you, but we are certainly happy to widen your knowledge on all of those things as well.
So where do we want to start?
Let's start with those.
Okay. So edge to edge. What does edge to edge mean? It means that the design, the embroidery design or the pattern that you're going to be using is designed for something that has a continuous feel. So it doesn't look like it was multi-hooped, or it doesn't look like it was repositioned, because
it just keeps stitching.
That's right. And so essentially what happens is it starts here and it finishes on this same plane. So it starts and it does all of this weird fancy design, right? And then it starts and then it stops here. So that the next time you go, it starts here and it does everything and then it finishes here. So it's a continuous line pattern that you can do. And the person who does this the best, and she
Definitely.
kind of,
she has the cornered market
the
on
market,
that.
right?
Absolutely.
And she's been doing it in embroidery machines, writing these books for quite a while. And she has a ton of stuff.
I think I can pronounce her name.
Yeah.
It's Amelie
Scott.
Scott. And she, you guys, if you watched our Dime event, was on Edge to Edge Quilting, there were some of her designs that were available, which are really great. But maybe you don't want to tackle a quilt the first time that you sit down. So we also have some other things that she's written that we have here in store. And yeah, I didn't follow any.
That's all right. I was trying to show like a corner without giving up like all of her instructions.
Gotcha. Yeah. Nope. Don't worry. They didn't get that.
They didn't get it, right?
Nope. So we're going to show a little bit about how to actually put things in the hoop. You stitch something. Okay, great. Now I got block 1 done. Now what do I do? So maybe a full-size quilt, king-size quilt, a baby quilt, a lap quilt. Maybe that's not the best thing to start with. So maybe a smaller project is the way to go. So we do have these guys here. These are actually super cute. Yeah. There's 2 different ones. This one is, and that's okay. This one is the seasonal piece. The other one is flowers, if I remember right.
It's like swirls. Yeah, it's definitely, it's got lots
but
of
like
swirls.
The corner embroidery piece is are different flowers, and then the decorative stitches are
and there are
coordinating with that. So you can see those patterns that are there. So you get the continuous quilting pattern, 4 different choices, and then there's a corner piece that you can put in the placemat or table run or whatever it is that you want to do. I think that is a fantastic way to kind of start and maybe not overwhelm yourself the first time.
Right.
The first time I did it, it was I only had like a 2-pass wide piece, but it was like a 6-pass long piece, and I was just like, oh yeah. And I did okay, but you know, it was a little more stressful than I would have liked my first time around. So I can tell you from experience, and maybe I should move that. I don't know if you guys are hearing like a thunk every time I decide to smack myself. But it is it's just I can tell you from experience. Yeah. Don't try to take too big of a bite the first time you jump in. Just so that it's not overwhelming, because we always like to have that success feeling.
Yes.
Not a oh man
and
feeling.
You know, let's be frank. If you have a 4x4 or a 5x7 machine, you're probably
this might not be something you want to get into.
Yeah.
Hopefully you have some free motion skills.
Right. Because there just is not going to be enough space in those hoop sizes to make a design that is going to be worthy of quilting an entire quilt.
No, and it would be very wow.
Right. And you know, keep in mind, it like an inch on either side has to be the starting point. And so you have a 4x4. You got a little
have very little quilting space in between those connection points.
So the smallest ones are like 6x10. So 6x10 hoop sizes or larger
would be recommended for this type of thing.
Yes.
So, and look at that, we're actually not on the wrong side.
I know, right? That totally didn't.
This was where we sat last time, because I got to sit in the fancy new chair.
Yeah. So, anyways, 6x10 hoop size or larger, this is going to work best for you.
Yep.
Anything smaller than that, then you're gonna have a really tough time finding designs that are really appropriate to hoop like that. It's just going to be really, really hard. It'd be really tough to design a design that would be like that.
There's not much water in there.
No.
No, it's starting to slurp already. I was like, oh, that's bad.
I know. I left mine over there with the other design. And I
never the little bit of Mountain Dew that I have left is
I don't
over
think
there
I ever
as well.
got the template. So I'm moving at least once today.
So let's start talking about what you would need. So I was actually on the phone with Kathy not very long ago, and we were talking about doing something similar to this. One of the things that you'll want to think about if you are doing your own quilting is your starting and your stopping points. So one of the things that we have the ability to do on all of our machines is to turn off our jump stitches, the trimming, and the color end trims if you would like to. You pretty much do that every time you quilt.
Yeah. And so, but not edge to edge, because
there is only one start.
There is only one start and one stop.
So do you bring up thread?
I typically will bring up my bobbin thread when I start
it.
And just because it leaves less of a mess at the bottom, but not always. And so
depends on who the gift's for.
Well, so there's always going to be a little bit on the back. The machine actually does a pretty good job of knotting it, so I'm actually not afraid to trim off the little bits that's left and just leave it if I have a design that's big enough to make this appropriate. So right. if I'm, and we have the big
started
hoops.
it.
I totally started it. So if I'm working in that 9.5 by 14 or the 10.5 by 16 size hoop, I'm probably not going to do that, because there's going to be very few
start and stop points throughout the entire project.
Right. If you turn that on and off, and you don't have the habit of pulling it up when you're doing something like this, when you take it out, everything is still going to be attached. So you do have to be mindful of that. And if you hit your thread cutter button, then that kind of defeats.
It does the same thing that if you had the trimmers turned on in the first place.
That's right. One of the reasons that when we quilt, we bury our threads is so that we don't actually see any of the little bits and tail threads and stuff like that. So definitely, if I'm using like the programmed options in like the quilt designer or the design center. Yes, because no matter what happens, it's
going to start and
as
stop
mindful
more times
as I start to be, like trying to move from the left to the right. The program has a mind of its own.
It does, absolutely.
And it does not go where I want it to go when I want it to go. Even if you are
filling your hoop, which for the most part, this program, when we're doing that, again, the stuff that we talked about last week, it'll start in the middle of the hoop and work its way out.
Yes.
So that it's not having a bunch of those. But it never fails. Whatever pattern that you've chosen, there's little bits, I'm going off screen here.
Yeah.
There's little bits in the corners that like finish a half circle that cut off or something to that effect.
Right.
And so it starts and it stops and it stitches this tiny little line, and then it starts and stops again, does its finishing knot.
Yes.
So even in that aspect,
I do.
You're going to be better off because you can't control. That actually sounds like a great idea. We should totally open the front door and get some fresh air.
I was gonna say it's this warm out, but all my phone is telling me is that I'm connected to the
that
TV camera here.
I'm not.
No. Yours won't tell
me. I got fancy.
Oh, it's almost 50.
Where do you see that? That's the time.
Oh,
that's not it. I got lots of buttons. I don't know what half of them do. Isn't that terrible?
So anyway, you do want to be mindful. So this is an edge to edge quilting design. This is different than just a quilting design. There are a ton of quilting designs that are out there, and they start and stop many times. And in those instances, I definitely would recommend turning off the trim stitch, because then you'll have all of these little
So when we show the camera on the computer,
yes,
the computer screen, the machine's screen itself, I will show you where that button is.
Yes.
They all look the same. They're going to be located in a different spot, but they will all look the same way. So I'm going to show you where to find that, and we'll show you how to turn them on and off for when you do get to that.
Yes.
So I just wanted to bring that up because it's a question we get a lot.
Yes.
And when do I turn them off? When do I leave them on? So that was where that whole sidebar went to, was that we do certainly get that a lot. And it says it's 39 outside.
That still feels pretty good.
It's still pretty nice. It's pretty sunny. Yeah, the sweater has been on and off a couple of times today. I can't quite make up my mind if I'm hot or cold, but what else?
All right. So we've determined that an edge-to-edge design starts and finishes at the
same
spot.
So that could be top and bottom.
Yep.
That could be right and left. I'm off the screen again. So right and left. And it could be up here at the top, right and left. But it has to be equal so that that next one is going to connect in the same spot.
Right.
And as long as they're equally positioned, it doesn't matter where, as long as they're equally. So that's how you are going to tell whether something is a continuous pattern or just a random quilting pattern.
Right. Because that's definitely different.
That is definitely different. You can still use them.
Right.
Just you're going to use them differently.
So I'm going to just show you guys really quickly the cute design. So this is the design that we stitched out.
It is so cute.
This is a quilting design that is built into the Solaris or Luminaire. If you have
upgrade 2, if you have a 1 machine.
Yes, if you have done your second upgrade to the machine, then this is a really cute built-in design. And it's so funny because that thread is green.
It is a green thread. It is like a light minty green thread, and it totally doesn't. It actually looks kind of burgundy.
It does. It just kind of blends right in. That's so funny. But if you look at the left side of the screen, kind of underneath the scissors, there's like a little loop that starts, and then when it finishes over by the sewing machine, so it comes off of the sewing machine, and there's another little loop-de-doo. And that loop on that side and the loop on the left side and the right side, they sit on the same plane. And so that is what's going to, I was actually going to go right to the screen so you could point it out. I just wanted to show them the actual stitched out. So that is where we have the starting and the stopping point. So I'm going to change this over to our screen here. So this is what it actually looked like on the screen when we were stitching it out. And now we can easily show them. So this point and this point.
So you can see that our fingers are horizontal with one another so that it is starting and stopping on the same plane.
Yep.
So to begin, this one happens to go left and starts there. And then, which kind of makes sense, actually.
Yeah.
One, hopefully, that would be easier. I don't know, as a lefty, is it easier to start on the right and go left?
I don't, in sewing, I don't think it matters.
I'm just messing with ya. One more thing that forces you to be a right-handed person.
Right?
Correct. Okay, so this is, again, a embroidery design that is a built-in in the Solaris or the Luminaire 2 and a inclusion in upgrade number 2 for the Solaris or Luminaire 1.
Yeah.
That is where this particular design came from. But as we mentioned when we first got going, there are 1.5 million out there. We are both very comfortable and confident in the Amelia Scott designs that you would have a good success rate with her designs. Her instructions are very good. You have some very, very good information provided in there.
That's right.
So did you want me to back out and show where that was found?
Sure.
Because you had a hard time finding it.
I did. I totally couldn't remember.
We both forget. Now, where do I find that design?
Yes.
That is one of the things that,
that's okay.
That I probably personally find the hardest.
It's not there.
It's not that one. I went the wrong one already.
That's exactly what I did. It's in number 2.
It's in number 2.
And then number 3.
See, it's different on the Luminaire because they don't have that. It is the number 1, and it's not number 3. It's actually like number 18 or 16 or something. So you would have to scroll here to find, but it's that same flower that is on the screen.
It kind of looks like lemons.
It might be.
I don't know if it is, but the picture actually looks like lemons.
It could be lemons. I don't have my glasses on. That could definitely be lemons. So when you select that, then of course you get all of the included designs, and these were all included as designs in that upgrade. And then it came preloaded, obviously,
if you have
in the number 2. Right, so number 50 is the one that we're talking about, but just so that you guys are looking, I know you can't see it super clear. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger up here. This one also has the same points that would be the same technique that we're talking about. So if you wanted something that was not themed sewing, we just thought it was really cute. And we've both been dying to use it. So it was don't do that.
I know, I'm so sorry.
It was a perfect option for us to be able to do that here. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up that sewing again. We don't have to do anything here. So we're just going to go all the way into the embroidery. So we're literally would be ready to stitch here. I don't know if, hopefully there's a lot of light in here. I'm hoping it's not too glared in there. I think it's okay.
Yeah, I think they can see.
You can see me moving.
You can see, yeah.
All right. So that is basically where we're starting.
Yeah.
So you would stitch this in the upper left-hand corner of whatever it is that you are starting with.
Yes.
Is there any time that you would move it somewhere else?
You know, the beautiful thing about having an edge design that starts in the left and the right is that you could literally start wherever
anywhere,
you
as long
want
as
it.
your up and down is going to balance.
That's right. So you could draw a straight line right down the very center of your quilt and start on the center and then work left and right if you wanted to. There really isn't any, there's no
right
reason
or wrong
why you can't.
For that. So as long as you have the ability to line that up. So we were talking about the template. There are these really cool plastic things that a lot of us got. We actually didn't get them with these machines because they have projectors and all these other crazy things built into them. I know there's the folder in the back. That's probably the easiest route. But those are a really great tool. And a lot of times we've kind of forget that they're there, or maybe we know we have them, but we don't know how to use them. And what they are for is actually lining up in your hoop so that you can see where center of the design would actually stitch. And you can make sure that your center point of the hoop is where your side horizontal pieces were actually going to land when you're actually stitching. So the first one's, like we said, it's probably the easiest one, if you will, because you're going to start in that corner. And once you have that first piece stitched, the hard part, of course, is lining up the next one. So that's where that grid is going to come in. If you have a camera or a projector, of course, you could use those features, but I know we don't all have them. So Sarah has found us a grid.
I found a giant one.
You did find a giant one. Do you want that?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to switch the screen here, and we are going to show you the stitch out that we have. So here we have, we used a magnetic hoop. So if that hoop looks a little weird to you, it's because it is one of the dime magnetic hoops.
And so you can see here, it started here and it kind of did this.
Does the skizzers.
So you can see it's just one continuous line over and over and over, right? And it just there's
doodles
no
everywhere.
End, and it started here and then it finished over here. And so if this was our actual project, I don't know if they can hear me.
Oh, good plan.
So if this was my actual quilt and I was using my magnetic hoop, I would take my top off. So it's magnetic. And I would set it aside and I would slide my fabric over.
So real quick, I'm just going to answer a couple questions. Holly, we cannot change the direction of the stitch. So just like any other embroidery pattern, stitch one is always going to be in the same spot. So this specific pattern starts on the left. And it will always start on the left. There is no stitching in reverse to start on the right and work your way left. So there is not a way to tell it to do that. And I will show again when we switch screens again where to find the design. Again, we're sitting in front of the luminaire. So
we're sitting in front of the Solaris.
I'm sorry, I'm not sitting in front of a luminaire, so I can't give you the exact piece, but I will show you how to find it on the luminaire as well. I will do that again in a little bit.
And so what I want to make sure is that I can see this point, and I'm trying to make sure that I have everything nice and lined up. And the beautiful thing about the magnetic hoops here is you can see I can easily like straighten out my fabric. I can flatten this so it's nice and
and
even.
smooth, and you don't have big ripples or anything like that. And you also want to make sure that your back is not rippled. So make sure that you're giving that a nice little, gentle little tug in there to make sure that you don't have that.
Can flip this around to make sure. And there you go. You can see I've got a little bit
of
it.
Wide back. I got to give me some of that. So, I can hear it all the way through the waves here, even though nobody is commenting. Somebody out there is going, you always tell us not to tug on the hoops.
Right.
So magnetic hoops are set up completely differently than your snap-in hoops.
Right.
We absolutely do not recommend you tug on your standard hoops, the ones that come with the machines. We do not recommend that. And this is a smoothing piece.
The fabric is also on a traditional hoop, the fabric goes up and you've got that
up and over.
Right. You've got a big crease over the edge. This is a flat piece of material. So I am not stretching my material. I am actually just smoothing it out. You certainly could overstretch your material, so you always want to be mindful, but I'm basically just...
You don't want to yank, hold it and pull until you can't pull anymore, but you want to make sure it's smooth and flat.
Right.
So I just wanted to throw that out there because I can already hear somebody thinking, hey, they told us not to do that. That means I can do that. Don't do that on your other hoops. And this is the 10.5 by 16 inch magnetic hoop that we are currently using.
Right.
This design is 9.85 by 14.73. So it is too big to fit in the 9.5 by 14.
Yeah.
So,
and the thing that I want to mention, the other thing that I want to mention is that when you buy a hoop like this, you do get some stickers that you could put on here. If you don't want to bother putting those stickers on there, you could also just measure from like the top to bottom and maybe make your centers so that you have some sort of designation there in case you don't have because if you can't use a template, sometimes it's hard to tell if you're straight in something that doesn't have any markings. So this is obviously not the right hoop because this template is not designed for the magnetic hoop. It's designed for
the traditional hoop.
For the traditional hoop. But this is a regular template. So this would be the extra template that you could purchase if you wanted to for your Luminaire or your Solaris hoop. This would be the insert in there. Can they see it? Can you see the hoop?
Yeah, there's you can see the grids. There's a little bit of a glare because we have such beautiful lighting now in different spots. But yes, when it's flat, I can actually see no real glare or anything when it's completely.
So you can see the lines, right? You would just use your lines on the grid to slide your hoop over. So I would place this over top of my existing design. And I would make sure that I have the lines going straight across, and then I would hold this and put it into my other hoop, to the base part of my hoop. So if you're using if you have a machine that doesn't have a camera or a machine that doesn't have a projector, like we're going to show you, you're going to want to use your templates or some sort of the Amelie Scott Designs. She does give you a paper template that you can print out, so that you will have something to put on your fabric.
Visually give you that eyeball of I'm in the right spot.
Yep, and you can use some masking tape and you can tape that down on your fabric. And then the beautiful thing about our machines is that we have the ability to go to that first stitch. So we can tell the machine to go to the first stitch and we can double check to make sure that we have everything in the right place.
And for anybody out there that just went, great, I don't know how to do that, I will show you. We will explain what that means.
So let's go back to that and then I'll swing around.
All right, so we're going to come back to the machine screen. And again, we have these beautiful stitches that we had on there before. So real quick, while Sarah is maneuvering around here, I'm going to show you those couple spots that we talked about that we promised we would show you. So all of our embroidery machines have a button that has the scissors and the little stitch mark below that. What that is going to give us the ability to adjust our tension, which is the squiggle lines, and the scissors, which are your jump or end color trims. So everybody has different options, right? We don't all have the same machine, so everything isn't equal. However, almost, I don't think there's anybody that doesn't have end color trims on their machines. At least nothing recent. There's
nothing
probably,
recent.
I'm sure there's some older versions out there that don't have that either, but everything currently comes with end color trims. Watch your fingers. The jump stitch trim is the piece that we all love to have, but everybody doesn't. So that might be something that you may not have on your machine. So on this one here, you can see that they are shaded a light blue. When I tap it and it's no longer colored, that means I've turned it off. All right. So that is literally as simple. Push it, turn it off, push it, turn it on. The shading equals on. All right. So it's that simple to adjust whether you are trimming or not. So again, this type of thing, probably not necessary to do that because we literally have one start stop point that we're working with. If you're working with something that's got bunches of start stop points, but still a quilting pattern, then you can make that decision for yourself as to how you want to deal with it.
Right. And you might be better off just doing
anything that's smaller.
Stitch.
Yep. Absolutely. So probably just this one.
On that would be for brother and baby Lex. So
that is
not
correct. Everybody has slightly different settings from ours. So there's not,
the other thing that you might want to play with on here is the tension. Did you talk about that?
I actually didn't. Just said that it was there. So this is actually one of those spots. This actually looks pretty.
Yeah, it actually came out really good.
It looks pretty good. I know you guys can't see what we're looking at. We're looking at the back of the quilt. So that is where you generally everything looks perfect on the front, and then you turn it over and you go, oh crap, that's not what I wanted. And so that tension that we have here is your embroidery tension. So not the bobbin tension, but actually that top thread, upper thread tension. So that is what we would be playing with here. And what we find is sometimes we get what we lovingly call eyelashes. I love long eyelashes, but not in my quilting.
Right.
So we want to make sure that everything looks pretty on the top and bottom. So it's not uncommon. When you have had to change this, do you have a number or haven't you really run into it yet?
I don't really have a number. A lot of it really depends. So I chose
the combination of thread, fabric, and what you're working with.
Right. I chose embroidery threads, and I put embroidery thread in the bobbin as well. But honestly, when I'm quilting at home, I most of the time use quilting threads. I like the look of
the flat, more traditional.
Right. And some of the thicker threads. And so oftentimes I find that I have to turn the tension down most of the time. And sometimes like to 2. I mean, sometimes it feels
might
like
take
it's a
lot to make it look like. So, build a test sandwich and just stitch a little bit before you put your baby underneath there and just let her rip. So we want to make sure that what we're going to end with is what we want.
And when you're testing, you can't go to you can't hit this button and be like, oh, I'm going to try that. You aren't going to notice a difference.
You're not going to see it.
Go from 4 to 3. And if it looks worse, then you went the wrong way.
You went the wrong way.
Right? But if it looks better or you feel like you went the other way, like you shot a little far back, then you can kind of go back and forth.
Then you can tweak into the middle of those. But give yourself enough to actually see a difference.
Right. Because otherwise you're gonna be like you're gonna do the whole design over and over again. You're gonna
be really frustrated before you've actually done anything.
You're gonna feel cross-eyed. You're gonna be like, I don't know what she was talking about. Screw it.
It's good enough for who it's for.
Those crazy gals, they don't know what they're talking about. I can't see a difference.
Yep. So give yourself enough to actually see a change.
Yep.
To give your brain a actual visual that it can process and make a decision from.
Right. And so Holly was talking, I know you were talking about can you move it to left or right?
Do they give you some options?
So they do. Sometimes there's more than one design. So they have an A file, which has a start and stop on the left and the right. And I think there's a B file. This one looks like it says it starts in the ends,
but it still starts on the same piece.
Right. So which would kind of be like the same thing. So it reversed the picture so that the start and the stop were on the opposite side. So it is, but it isn't. It's hard to explain.
But unless the designer has offered that for you, there is no way for you to tell your machine.
Right.
Unfortunately, could you do that in reverse?
Aside from doing the mirror image,
right.
But keep in mind, then everything would be mirrored.
Everything
and
would be.
So it may not, wouldn't look like an edge to edge design anymore, because it would look like you had two different designs.
Yep.
So you certainly could.
This is a chance to promote the regalia because it can do that.
Yes, yes. And Hayden, I don't know if you can hear him back there, but he's becoming quite the quilter extraordinaire over there. Coordinator.
Is he coordinate? What's
He's
he going to
coordinating the regalia and the quilting.
And he is getting really good at it.
Yes.
And he has figured out all of those buttons over there.
Yes.
So
and he wants you to know, Holly, that you can do that on that machine. So if you want that to be your next machine, we can certainly do that with just the click of a button.
Yeah. Sold. That button.
Yes.
So anyway, that is where you can adjust those tensions. And just so that you guys can visually see, we're talking change it a chunk.
Yes.
All right. So this is now says 3.0 instead of 4.0. 4.0 is that default.
Yes.
On all of these auto tensioned machines. So you can tweak till you find your perfect. Yeah. So you've certainly played a lot more different things than I have played.
Yeah.
Such as different threads and whatnot.
Yeah.
I am still kind of a newbie when it comes to that. I haven't ventured out in so many different things. I have a beautiful collection of it now at home,
right?
But I haven't used a lot of it.
It's fun. It's fun. It can be fun and frustrating because if you're on a time crunch, this is not the time to experiment with a variety of different threads.
No.
But that's usually the time when I decide I want to try something. Oh, this thread will be
that tends to be what I do. Is I'm like, oh, I can figure this out,
right?
And then I get mad.
Yeah.
And may say things that you might have heard me say before.
But this is a really good opportunity to have. So a lot of the machines come with that secondary bobbin case.
Mm-hmm.
But if bobbin cases are inexpensive. I mean,
really
we're talking
at least Brother Baby Lock bobbin cases are inexpensive.
$30, $35.
Yep.
Have one that you set up for.
If you have specialty threads,
yeah,
set it up, get it working, and then label it.
Right. They put it in a little plastic
away
baggie.
and don't change it.
This is the one that I use with 12 weight threads. Boy, I tell you, $20 or $30 is worth
the frustration of having to figure it out over and over again.
And the hours of time that you can spend. We're all worth $30 an hour.
Time is money.
Yes.
And when we have spent so much of it frustrated trying to figure things out, having it okay, well, I only have to go through this once.
Right.
Is certainly helpful.
Yes.
So
because sometimes you can't solve the problem. And here's the truth is sometimes you can't solve the problem with the upper thread.
That is
sometimes
it's got to be done on that bobbin case because it's just the only adjustment that can be made to balance it to where you need it to be.
Yes.
Yep.
And that's the ugly truth.
That is the ugly truth. So would you say, because I think you've done more than me, would you say most of them are starting your upper left-hand corner? Or is it really, as long as it's balanced, you can start wherever you want?
I honestly, Holly, I don't start in the upper left and work my way down. I start in the middle and I work my way out. And because you have the ability to also go to the last stitch of the machine and the first stitch,
you can make sure you're lined up before you've done anything.
Yeah, you can double check to make sure that you're lined up. So it doesn't really matter when you have the ability to do that.
So how about we show you how to do that?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
And the reason that I do that is because then it ends unevenly on both ends, if that makes sense.
So if you have only half of the design on the edge, you have only half of the design on the other edge as well.
Yeah.
Instead of, oh, that looks funny.
Right. It just kind of splits it better. And and not
only that, but you don't have puckering or any of those issues because you work out all of that. The pieces that I have done custom quilting on, I always start in the middle for that exact reason. I don't want to get to the middle and have all this extra fabric. And I'm just like, what do I do with all of that? So starting in the middle is certainly generally the best answer.
Yes.
But as long as you know where your stop point is, that tells you how to line things up.
Absolutely.
So locating them and going, okay, Now plan my quilt.
Yes.
And this is where I want to go.
Right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So how do I tell it where is stitch number 1? So I'm not sure how clearly you guys can see. This is my center of my hoop, and it is actually slightly green. It's got a crosshair that's green there. So we all have the ability to show the center of our hoop or not. And when I change and go into my stitch jumping capabilities, which is again, the needle plus minus button. We all have one of those. I always say plus and minus, but it's actually minus plus, but my mouth won't say that. So
that's fair.
It just won't. I've said plus minus for so long. I don't know what else to tell you guys. So when we tap that, we have the ability to jump around our design. We also have the ability to jump by entire colors, which of course in this instance would do us absolutely no good here. So the +1 button, when I tap that, my plus has actually moved all the way over here and into, sorry, our fabric went on screen a little bit, apologize. So you can actually see over here now is my green plus. I still have my center, which was there. My green was just covering that up previously. So when I hit +1, I can see exactly where that is. And I can say, hey, I'm where I want to be, or oh crud, I'm not where I want to be. So with magnetic hoops, it can make it a little bit easier for adjustment. So sometimes when we hoop, we don't actually hoop where we can stitch. So by the time we move it, we're like, oh crud, I need to be an inch farther, right, left, up, down, whatever it happens to be, because my design is going to go out of my hoop if I'm lined up. So that's no fun.
No.
But magnetic hoops make it a lot easier to make that adjustment if need be, which is super helpful when you go to hoop. So that is another reason to use a magnetic hoop when you're quilting.
Yes.
So do you want to say anything else?
No.
All right.
That wrapped up that nicely.
That's literally where we're at. So what we want to do now is look in our hoop. So we've already stitched one piece. We've lined it up as much as we possibly can in that hoop. So what do we want to do to say, okay, am I where I want to be? So I've got a couple different options on the Solaris.
The one option we should not use with this setup would be scanning.
Let's not scan that, because we're going to knock over every camera that we've got going on if this hoop moves backwards anywhere. So I'm not going to take a picture of the hoop, and I'm not going to hit the projector, because that's not going to actually help you guys on screen. But what I can very, very clearly see is where my needle, and actually I think I can move the camera without it.
I can definitely move this back and over. So if you want to.
I was just going, okay, so everybody close your eyes for 2 seconds. I'm going to rotate my camera. So right there, you can see where, I'm going to move over just a little bit more because it's not quite where it needs to go. So you can see where the stitch is and where my needle is. Not in the right spot, right? So all I really need to do is move, which all I have to do, we all have move arrows on our, oh yeah, that won't work. Hang on, hold that thought. I got to switch screens again. That's interesting. Sorry.
Okay.
Just going to dump everything on the floor. All right. So here is my left center position, and I can move into my move arrows and then literally position and move. And so we can see where we're at as to whether we're lined up. Depending upon what your tools are, we all have a hand wheel. We can drop our needle and say, am I where I need to be? Our answer here would be nope.
Yep.
But it's very easy to see. So some of us have a actual drop down projector that we can do that gives us the ability to see exactly where that needle would drop, which makes life a little bit easier to line things up. Some of us have a red dot that will drop, and some of us don't.
Right.
So what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, if you want to go back to the screen and show them how you moved it around, I'll bring my camera around and I'll go up and over, and then we can adjust.
So I'm going to slowly move back to where I was before. Hopefully I'm not making anyone nauseous. It keeps turning on and turning off my charger. Keep getting this random piece. So I pushed a bunch of different buttons on screen to allow me to maneuver around. I'm going to come back. So I have a couple different things. So right here is my ability to move. Put the needle back up. Here we go.
So particular.
I tell you, it knows what it wants. Nothing wrong with that, right?
No.
It's like a strong woman. Knows what she wants. This default is going, I'm so sorry,
Nope,
Sarah.
you're good.
It's going to be in the center of the hoop. So for any of you guys who came to a class we did a little while ago, long while ago now, with the mouse pads, and we put a design in the bottom left-hand corner, these are the tools that we used. So just to ring that bell, you can go to the bottom left-hand of the design, the top right-hand of the design, just by tapping those different pieces. What I want to do is I want to know where that piece is here. So ready?
Mm-hmm.
She's holding all the cameras to make sure everything stays where it's going to be. I hit that button. My whole machine shifts over to where we need to be. All right. So I can see where my needle is, and I can see where my stitch is and where I need to be lined up. So on my move arrows, so if I hit my move button and I get my move arrows, I can shift, okay, until I get to where I want to be, or as far as I can be in this case. So I don't know if you guys could hear that knock, knock. It says,
Right. I don't
can't
think
go
I
any farther.
peeked at the right spot.
So unfortunately, we need to shift just a little bit. So you can see she is lifting that top hoop just a hair and sliding. So again, we have, okay, good.
How many hands does it take to do this?
Right.
Right. Without
When you have
hitting
4 cameras, that's, you know, a challenge.
There we go.
We still shift.
Do we shift too far again?
I think we're all right. So what we can do is I have dropped down, and I'm not sure if you guys can see that.
Hit the projector button.
I can hit the, things
I
are going
think
to
it'll
move a
be
little
okay.
bit. So everything's going to move again here, guys. So hang on. This machine does have the projector, which is a really, really awesome tool. So you guys can hopefully see
There.
the actual line that is being stitched.
Mhm.
So all I have to do, and again, the hoop is going to move, is I need to move, and I want to make sure that that line is meeting up with this line. So I have move arrows, and I can gently move until I get everything exactly where I want it to be. So projection is really, really nice.
So the reality is we've got that projector down there. We can kind
We
of pop
can
this
literally move this until we get it exactly where I want it to be. I can hold that in place if I have a buddy doing my magnet movement for me, and I am right where I need to be. All right. So this is, again, the projection.
Mm-hmm.
That drop down, everybody has the ability to do a drop down. Okay. So what do I mean by that? We have my position here. All right. So you can see I have a drop down. Maybe you can't see that.
It's hard to see
can I
it.
change that color. There's a button in here somewhere. Beep, beep, beep. Pointer color. That didn't do it. That's the wrong button. Is that doing anything?
No.
Super helpful. Can you guys see red?
Very,
Very, very faintly. So there is, you can see it on my finger, I think, a little bit. A drop down there, that'll probably work. So there's an actual light that drops down on this machine.
Mhm.
On this machine, we have the ability to change from that crosshair to an actual dot.
Mhm.
So it's your preference of what you're seeing. I like the crosshair. That's what I pretty much leave on mine because that gives me angle
Right.
as well as just position. However, we also have a lot of machines that have just the laser drop down built onto their foot. So this one happens to be a projected drop down. The others are laser lights that drop down right where that needle is going to hit. But there's probably at least 50% of you out there that don't have either one of those things. The down and dirty, nitty gritty, I can literally lower my needle and see, yep, I'm where I want to be, or nope, I need to make a position change.
Right.
All right. So if you are one of those people that have one of the original machines that don't have all these really great features, it's okay. You still have the ability to make sure that you are lining up with where you want to be. So again, we are using our needle position. We are finding center left because that is where this start point is. And I am making sure by literally dropping my needle to see where I need to be at. And you can actually see it's grabbing hold of that fabric a little bit. So it is telling me where, if I'm where I want to be. Yep. If I'm not, I use my move arrows and I make an adjustment. Your machine will not allow you to move if your needle is not up all the way.
Yes.
Ask me how I know.
Right. It'll tell you.
It says,
now
I need my needle up a little bit more.
Yep.
So it is a fantastic ability to be able to say, I'm where I need to be. Now I can also go forward a stitch and make sure before I've even started, which I personally do. Do you do that? I always go to stitch number 1. I don't let everything shift.
Right.
I'm paranoid. I just make sure that everything's where it needs to be before I actually start stitching.
Yep.
So if any of you don't understand what I mean by that, I am going to come back to center. I think you're okay there, but just to make sure. All right. So I am at the center. No,
you're in your like 4-corner check.
Oh, no, I see where I am. It's, we shifted.
Yes.
I'm the
center
center of the hoop and center of the
different.
design are two very different things, but you guys can't see that. So it's okay. But I can go to that needle minus plus. If I think about it really hard, I can say it that way and go to stitch number 1. So hitting
you want me to go
the
back
needle.
To that screen?
It's okay. I think she's going to switch screens. So again, at the bottom of my screen, I have the needle with a little fraction of the minus and the plus there. And that gives me the ability to jump around my design. All I want to do is I want to hit +1 and it's shifted. We can't do these 2 screens. We'd have to do all 3, right? Can we do the red? That's okay. So you can see that I hit +1 and it moved my needle position. No. It's the main one. We have to show the main one.
I know.
That's the one thing we haven't figured out how to get around yet. So I have moved my needle position to stitch number 1. It's where it's actually going to start stitching. And I can make sure everything's nice and smooth and tight and I don't have fabric tucked under my hoop and all of that as things are moving, and make sure that I'm actually getting the stitch that I want.
Yep.
If you are still in check mode, so I still don't feel like I'm quite ready to stitch, we also can go -1. Oh, this one doesn't let us do that. We have to go all the way to the end.
Because we haven't been to the end yet.
I haven't been to the end yet. It won't let me go to the end. If we've already stitched it once, it will let you go backwards 1 stitch. And then that would show me on the other side where I would end up. So if I am centered, so if on this hoop, we have stickers that say this is my center, so on and so forth, I can make sure I am equally balanced on one side and the other so that I'm not changing the angle of my quilting, because I might have done that once. And it's not fun to try to figure out how to make everything else work once you do that.
And this is only a 2,600 stitch design. So you could plus the one.
I could.
You could just
I could watch here.
Yeah, I think we're clear.
That's 2,000. That's 500, 2, 3. Woo! It almost went. 4, 500, 10, 20, 30, 40. I'm almost at the end. 60, 70, 1, 2, 3. So now you can see here where my end is. Again, if we have stitched this, which we would have already done once, we
went out and came back in.
Yeah, I re-brought the design in so it doesn't think we've stitched it yet. So I can't go back 1 stitch and go to the last stitch, which you could do had you actually stitched through and left everything on the screen.
Yes, we made it more complicated.
We did, just to show you how buttons work. Can you imagine? I mean, geez. So again, the ability to jump around your design here is huge. And being able to see exactly where something's going to stitch at before you've done anything. You do not have to have a camera or a projector to do that. It certainly makes it easier, no question, but you don't have to.
Right.
There are ways to do that. So if you have one of the smaller 6x10 machines that don't have the camera in, or if you have an older machine that's larger that doesn't have a camera built in, but still has a larger hoop size, you have the ability to bring in, move that needle position and say, okay, I'm good to go before I've stitched anything. You can't physically see it on screen or in the hoop, but you can check that positioning to make sure that it is literally going to go right where you want it to, which is what we all really need.
Right.
That is the key to successful embroidery, is making sure that it's doing what you want it to do before you actually hit go.
Because
once you've hit go,
that's right,
it's too late to fix it unless you have a lot of unsewing to do.
Yes.
Like in this case, 2,574 stitches.
Right.
No fun, in case anybody's wondering. So let's make sure that we have everything right before we set it up.
Right.
So quilting in the hoop. Amelie Scott has some fantastic options. These specific patterns, this is the flower one she grabbed that you guys didn't get a really good chance to see before.
It says seasonal swirl placemats. And there are 4 large quilting designs, 4 small quilting designs, and then 4 swirl designs.
Yep. So you're looking at like the 6x10-ish, and then there is a smaller one. So she does offer something a little bit smaller, but it's
like,
still not
that's
5 by.
That's just a quilting design. Yeah, the 4x6 by 7x7. So
yeah, that's still not your
small.
5x7,
No.
unfortunately. So you know, you've got some other options that are out there. These, I think, are a great way to start if you want to get into this, but aren't really sure that you can tackle an actual baby quilt, lap quilt, or God forbid, don't try king or queen off the get. I just don't suggest that. So you have a couple different options. These are $24.99 a piece.
Yes.
So you get all of the instructions on how to do those, plus the ability.
They're available on our website.
That's where I was going. She got me
I
first.
stole her thunder.
So our website, if you guys have not, the little scrolly thing was supposed to say this, but it ate it. Sorry. LeabuSewingCenter.com. And then you can click on shop with Leabu, and then you got to click one more time. There's a couple things, but it's pretty easy. You just click here to shop, boom, and you're on the shopping site. And these are there. You can have a shipping option of pick up at store, so there's no shipping fee, or you can have it shipped directly to you, and then you don't have to come see us if you really don't want to.
Or if you're watching and you're not if you're far away.
You know, if you happen to be one of our California or Texas
but we have more
watchers
of these.
We have
on
more
the way.
So please feel free to
you can
order.
buy
We'll
as
get
many
them.
as you want.
One for your neighbor, one for your mom. But yeah, so quilting in the hoop is fantastic. Continuous quilting, we pay a lot of money to some really nice people to do that for us, but it is certainly great to know how to do that yourself.
Yep.
Do I recommend that you start tackling king size quilts? No. Quilting by check is a fantastic thing. Or come hang out with Hayden.
Yep.
And he'll teach you how to use the regalia. We'll hook you up with that machine. Again, it's just a swipe, you know, no big deal.
If you have the right number.
If you have the right number, we will absolutely get one to you. But those are really great. And if you have one, fantastic. If your sister has one, even better. Pass it off. But quilting by check is still an option. We're certainly not saying that you should never do so. But those smaller projects are really nice to be able to handle on your own. Then you don't have the weight or the stress, and you can actually say, hey, I did this, you know, which it's kind of fun. I've not done a gift yet that has this. I've done for myself, but I've free motion quilted just doodles, but it's a really nice bonus to be able to say, I did the whole thing as a gift for somebody, especially if they're super special to you. You know, there are some people that are like, that's good enough. And then there's those people you go the extra mile for. So this is one of those.
Right. So 2 ways to get started with her designs. One, buy a
Something
placemat smaller version.
Yep.
Because this
or
one has
make a placemat
Right,
and go with one of the packages that you can
because this one has the instructions on how to
how
properly
to actually
place
line
it.
up and do all of those things.
But if you want to, there's like, I don't
There's a
know,
bunch.
15 or 20 expansion packs
Yep.
already for this. And the key is that I get it. Like the designs that are built into the book, they may not be that great, but this is the meat and potatoes.
It is. You need to have the information and the instruction on how to make the cool boat and the anchor and the whatever extra ones that are out there that you've specialized in and picked out and bought. But that original piece is where it gives you all of the how to line it up instructions and the templates and the how to take care of all of those pieces.
Yeah. So you want to start with the book or the placemats to get some instruction, and then we'll be adding more of the expansion packs to the website. They aren't on there yet, but
and you know, if they're not there, but there's something specific that you are looking for, we can always order you things. Just because we don't have it in store doesn't mean we can't get our hands on it. There is absolutely no way, even though it would make both of our days, that if we had one of everything that everybody had, that would be really, really cool. However, it's not realistic, and we'd probably lose our job.
Bigger boat.
We would totally need a bigger boat, and he would probably fire both of us if we ordered one of everything.
Right.
I don't know that we would be here next Tuesday, but no, I'm
it'd be what's new with SnL without Leabu.
We got all this new stuff, but there's no Leabu because we're on the parking lot. But no, seriously, you know, we can always order and find. We've got a lot of different vendors that we have access to that we can find some of those things. So if you see something out there that you know, hey, I really love to try this, can you get your hands on it?
Yeah.
Ask.
Yeah.
Worst thing that's going to happen is I'm going to say, nope.
Right. And we'll be honest with you. If it's not something that we can get for you, we'll tell you. Go try get it here. You know, we might have seen it someplace and can tell you.
And on that note, there are a lot of you who have been doing that, and we really appreciate you calling us for your sewing needs and pattern needs and miscellaneous things. Those little pieces do make a big difference. Yep. So you guys have all been fantastic supporting us over this last year with whatever it happens to be. Right. So, and I hope you guys know that we are very appreciative of all of those things. We are hearing, you know, how much you guys love watching the videos and things, and we're glad that it's working out. And that you guys
definitely pushed us out of our comfort zone.
Yeah.
So yes.
Yeah. So this little guy right there is the culprit.
Yeah, that
started it all. And it wasn't as bad as either of us thought it was going to be. So we kept going, and here we are. Almost a year. Well, no, not a year from this. It was about a year from COVID, but we didn't start until like August or something like that.
We've
but
come so long.
We really have. I feel like this is like a forever thing already. So we really appreciate all of you. And I thought that was falling.
Yeah, no, I'm actually monkeying with it over here.
I was going to save her phone, but it didn't actually need to be saved. So anyway, we went a little bit over, but I hope you guys really, really enjoyed all of the information. I know that this is adorable, and I want to do that. Yeah. The problem is my list of I want to do's is, you know, it's really.
I know. My inserts for my cabinets are going to come someday.
I have a really cute Kimber project on my machine that I stupidly started without printing the instructions and reading them first. And then I got upstairs, which is not where my computer was. And when
you were like, I can do this.
I got partway in and I was like, what's that line supposed to be? Yeah, I have no idea. I'm like, I probably should stop. And I got downstairs and I read the instructions. I'm like, you're such a dork. Why didn't you do that part first? Because it was something stupid and simple, of course.
Right.
That I never did. So as something that poor Hayden, he did this really hard work to get me this sample, and it's been 2 weeks now since he did it, and I didn't have a chance to show it. We had so many things we've run over
twice now,
and well, I'm sure that's not the first or second time, but
in a row.
So this is there we go. Annika's throw pillows, and it's how many half are we? I'm halfway there, right? There's another half over here.
Two more. Camels.
So we're 2/3 of the way done. And this is nicely chenilled. He did a fantastic job. I loaned him my favorite little tool. So was it Sandy Puffin that I had said I was going to bring this in? I kept forgetting and kept forgetting and kept forgetting. I finally remembered. This is the tool that I use. It has a line that you literally put into the chenilling and then just push, and I don't know if you guys can see, there's like a little rotary blade in there that just slices it, but it doesn't slice through that bottom layer that you occasionally. So we have some of those coming. I don't think they've come in yet.
No, they're out of stock.
But we do have, were they?
Bummer.
But we do have a different one.
Yeah.
So we do have some coming, and we do have one here. But this is a Kimber new throw pillow design pack, and they are available to do in either chenilling or just standard applique. So you don't have to do the excess if you don't want. But didn't he do great with his color choices? They're just so pretty. It's supposed to be like a gradient, and it is. I just love. That might disappear into my house. It would fit really nicely.
You might have to fight him for it. He's got that look. Like,
I know. He's like, I don't think so. I'll shake you with that. No, but so that is one of the new patterns from Kimber. We do expect to see red, white, and bloom fabric coming in the next couple of weeks, and the patterns by mid-March anyway. So hopefully really soon that we'll have the new quilt pattern ready to go home for all of you. He's just over there going, I gotta go hide that. I was just kidding, Hayden. I swear I would never take anything from you because you're my favorite. I would never do that.
No.
Ever. Like
Thank you.
happening. So you guys have a fantastic day. Bye,
Yes.
Dad. You have a great day too.
We'll see.
And we will see
a bunch of you
tomorrow afternoon. And again, I apologize for the time change. That's totally on me, but got to go to this appointment. So
yes,
very important. And we will see you tomorrow afternoon, and we'll play with, one of us will be covered in fuzz.
Yes.
Because
so
fabric.
Appropriate fabric noted for clothes. Maybe not.
Don't
black.
wear black. Check. Got it. All right. Blue jeans tomorrow it is.
Yep.
All right. So we will see some of you then.
Yeah.
And the rest of you next week. And so again, tomorrow at 2:00 for the fill in the blank. March 20th, we have the Garden Guild. And then March 24th or 27th, Foot Fetish, 9:30 in the morning. And Embroidery Club in the afternoon at close, Wednesday or Friday. So that's what's coming up.
Yes.
I told somebody I was going to do that
Louisa,
again. Almost forgot. So there you go.
Yep. We have our website. Some of you have already ordered. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're adding
LeabuSewingCenter.com. Shop with Leabu.
Yep.
Find some fun stuff. We'll see you guys there. You have a good one.
Bye, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.